Well, good morning. We we left our campsite at Indian Bread Rocks this morning. Had a beautiful sunset last night. It was the first one, I think, of the whole trip. It was actually pretty nice. So hopefully, you either saw that or will have seen it on the last video. But we're driving up. Generally, it's a 1.5 mile walk here to Fort Bowie. But if you can't really walk the 1.5 miles, and it's a 3 mile round trip, you can drive into the ADA accessible area. And I would always call ahead just to make sure they're still allowing it. That's what I did. There's no way I'm walking 3 miles round trip plus touring the fort and stuff. So we'll talk a little bit more about the fort when we get up there. So we are walking here into the visitor center. It's about, they said 300 yards, I guess. Yeah, so we have some sort of ruins here. They talked about adobe structures, but this one's obviously rock. I'm not sure I see there. It's marked what it is, maybe around the side here, or maybe not. That's a cool old wagon if we can get in here and see it. Yeah, it's an interesting wagon because it has metal wheels instead of wood. That's kind of interesting. But the axle back here is wood, so I'm sure it was horse-drawn. If you happen to know what this is or was, other than just a wagon, please leave it in the comments. All right, so I'm in the visitor center here at Fort Bowie. The interesting thing about the fort is that it has two sites. The original site, which goes back to 1862, when the California column came during the Civil War. And when they got to this area, they ran into issues with the Apache. So they established the fort more as like a tent fort. You know, they were living in canvas-sided tents. And then I think it was 1868 that the new site here, where we have some adobe and such, was formed. There's just adobe ruins here for the most part. And that particular fort ended when the Apache Wars, or they had captured Geronimo, like in the 1890s, that finally the last few guys that were here left. Oh, Captain Robert's false teeth. Exciting. There's an 1893 shot. Yeah, so I guess as an outpost, it was closed in the 1880s after Geronimo's capture. But it was 1894 when the last flag was taken down. Interesting, the cradle board, it says. I think we learned papoose in the old days. Well, that's cool. Dress helmet parts. Probably those helmets that I thought looked so silly. Oh, geez, hadn't seen that. USS were scouts. US Scouts. Cavalry, artillery, infantry. Interesting. A lot of talking going on outside. Let me give them this and you can stop and read it. Okay, sculpture of Cochise. There's Cochise. Okay, so here is the 1861 soldier's outfit, I guess. The women of Apache Pass. Boy, this glare is awful. Funny how you don't notice the glare so much when you're just walking around because you just automatically move. But when you're filming, you see it. And a view from Officers Row. Oh, the commanding officer's quarters. Boy, it's too bad that doesn't still exist, huh? I mean, seriously, Fort Bowie tennis court. Yeah, so here we see those eagles like on this helmet, the dress uniform. This guy was just a sergeant, so it's pretty fancy. And then at the end here, we just have the gift shop area. So as I said, the fort here, Fort Bowie, was originally established in 1862, and it was after the two run-ins with the Apaches. First, what they called the Bascom Affair, which was, I believe, Lieutenant Bascom. And then the Battle of Apache Pass, where the California troops Federal troops were headed off to confront a Confederate force, and they were ambushed by the Apache up in the Apache Pass. So the first fort was actually established over here in front of me. Let me kind of show you here. Over in those hills here, let me zoom it in. I don't know if you can make out those ruins right in the center. But essentially all they did was build some well-placed walls that they could use for defensive positions if the Apache attacked. Here is the second location of the fort. Those are the barracks, and off over here, I guess, was the store. All right, so these are kind of cool adobe walls right here along the first part of the trail. It's kind of cool. So the original storehouse was built in 1868. Here's the foundation for the old quartermaster store. But it was 1886 they got Geronimo, and then pretty much they closed the fort. But they left 200 men here, I guess, for another 8 years before they finally just abandoned the fort. So we're coming up to the barracks here. Look how gorgeous this is. We have the mess hall. You have to love the way that they say the palatable food during the fort's early days was a constant problem. See an adobe wall inside here, over here. It's the only one that seems to break in, just given some other configurations. Maybe was the sergeant's quarters at the end here. Very interesting though, because it looks like the rock walls go up quite a ways. And even have rock here underneath the adobe. So, and a wasp nest too. And believe me, I have been being attacked by these buggers. It was kind of like the way the light plays on shapes like this. Well, they are calling this the cavalry barracks here. It's kind of interesting when you look at what it looked like versus what we're looking at. This area was the tailor shop. Some of the soldiers called them the pests of the West because they were more likely to mutilate the uniforms than to improve anything. All right, and here was the commanding officer's quarters. I think I showed a picture to you inside. Man, and this is all that remains. Nice big place. All right, so back here behind the commander's quarters, out this trail, this was apparently where the hospital was. It's reported by the sign that this area was an officer's quarter in 1873. We were just over there with the officer's quarter of 1873, and now we've got some more officer's quarters from 1868. So it's really interesting here. Officers based on seniority determined how many rooms, stoves, and firewood they got. You know, their wives would try to make the houses as nice as possible, kind of compete to make them Eastern style houses. But then if a new officer came and he had more seniority, you might get kicked out of that house you've been working on. So another assumption wrong. They did have infantry, but that's over here. I was just wondering if earlier if it had been like all cavalry here or something. Yeah, this is a very large area. In fact, started way back there where those rocks are, and you can see it goes through here, and the path actually looks like it goes right through the doorway. There's a piece of purple glass on the ground. I don't know how well, yeah, it looks like I can see the purple. Piece of glass I found here right in the infantry barracks. Boy, I don't know what kind of bush this was, but it's kind of cool. It almost looks like palm fronds, but I wonder if it was like a yucca or something. In this area would have been the kitchen and mess hall for the infantry. Adjutant's office was in this adobe structure, but there's absolutely nothing here that I can see. But I think it's interesting, they talked about as the nerve center for the 500-mile heliograph system during the Geronimo campaign. And they used Morse code to send and receive messages by flashing sun rays. So I guess in this picture, the guy with the telescope would be trying to read the message, and these guys over here would be sending the message with that contraption. Yeah, so they're saying that every military post had to have a school. Teacher gets 35 cents extra, but most of the pupils were illiterate enlisted men. It's also served as a court-martial room, library, and chapel. Of course. Well, it looks like we're coming to one of the more complete or high-walled buildings. So the post trader would be like the Army Post Exchange. Yeah, look at all these rooms. Looks like, I don't know, they're looking to do some work. That's cool. Notice a lot of these walls have this, almost like there was hardware wire against it. Another little odd alcove over here. So we've come across these ruins, but there's no sign right here. Did you see a sign for this?
Yes, this is the guardhouse.
Ah, this is the guardhouse. The building that's way out there, very solidly built. That was the powder magazine. So this one with the brick, this was the Post Bakery. So maybe that explains why we got the bricks here. Good chance that this down here was the oven and this depression here. That was Fort Bowie. We're gonna be off to Cochise Stronghold. All right, we'll see you either on the road or at camp. All right, well, as you can see in front of us, that's, I think, where we're supposed to be going to camp tonight. So, I don't know. We're going to have to, yeah. This is kind of weird. We're headed to Cochise Stronghold. And according to the map, it looks like that's where this burn is going on. So, I don't know. I guess we'll check in with you later, possibly camping somewhere else. Well, Carol's getting a picture of it. Fire danger, moderate, almost low, second category. And you can see straight ahead of us, and we've talked to several people now who said that nothing's closed up here.
Not officially.
Not officially, anyway. Is that enough? You get it?
Yeah.
That's plenty.
Yeah.
We're getting smoke in the car.
I don't think that's our last chance to get smoke in the car.
So,
It's not a helicopter crash.
Stronghold campground.
you don't know where you are.
It always tells
Yeah, it always tells us this
that,
is the...
because that's where the helicopters
Well,
are.
you know, actually, I think we probably should just turn around.
I don't think we're going to want to breathe.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was thinking the campground might be...
Proceed with caution due to fire. Do not report smoke.
Yeah, I was just thinking that we could get past the way it's blowing, but not worth it. All right, well, it is a prescribed burn, and but you know, it's the way it is. We just have to figure something out now. Oh boy. Well, when we last left you, we ended up turning around, and not far out and away from the fire, we found this forest road, and we've been driving right along the forest boundary, and now we're turning deeper into it. And when I say forest, obviously it doesn't look like a forest, but it's the Coronado National Forest. Kind of rocky. It's one of those things. We have no idea if we're going to find any place to stay or not, but...
What the heck?
What the heck? So...
There's going to be the turn off to the left here. Very.
Yeah, let's go off to the left here.
Okay. Because that's not the main road anyway, and so if we find a spot, we can stop.
Yeah, this is sometimes how you boondock. whether you like it or not.
You just drive down a road.
All right, we'll see you guys later. Well, we did make it to a boondock spot. We just kept following the road, and then there was a spur road off to the side and up towards the mountains here behind me. It's not a bad spot. It took us forever to level. We have 4 blocks under each of the front tires. So we're not really all that far from where the fire was, maybe 2 or 3 miles, but we're kind of out around the mountain and the wind is blowing the opposite way. So hopefully this will work out great. So immediately just here from the camp spot, we have this great view out into the mountains. I think that might be the Chiricahua over there with the snow cap that are off to the right now. And then as I come around, we have our camp. Can't see those 4 blocks up on the wheels, and kind of see them there getting us level. We were pretty low in the front, and if you saw the track of us trying to get level here, I don't know how many gallons of gas we had to waste to try to get level. But then we have this beautiful mountains. All in all, I'm pretty pleased with the spot. It was a little bit of a gamble, I guess, if we would find something, but you know, there's tons of national forests, and what we didn't want to do is drive real far away. I mean, we could have found some stuff, you know, several miles away, but we got stuff to do tomorrow and such. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you guys later.